they're trying to convey, you should be comfortable asking the question, right? Because there are no stupid questions. Well, candidly, there are stupid questions. People ask stupid questions all the time. I've done it in the past, right? That's just, something that's going to come across. And it's happened to me in sort of an executive setting where an executive told me, "Hey, that was a stupid question, Ken." And it caught me off guard, and I kinda, I stopped for a moment. I was trying to digest what this individual that I respected, and he was a leader, he's a senior leader, C-suite, and it caught me off guard, and his ex-com that was there sort of she was kinda surprised, and then she sort of changed the conversation to go in a different direction, and, I felt about that big, right, when it happened. Because here I am, I was doing executive protection at the time, and so I'm trying to make a good impression. It was a new, leader that I was just working with. I didn't have a strong relationship with, so I didn't really know him very well. So here I'm trying to make an impression, a professional impression, and he tells me I asked a stupid question, and for the life of me, I could never tell you what the question actually was. I can't remember. I just remember the
Oh, dear.
moment, the embarrassment, and all those things. But here's what happened a couple of days later, because it happened over dinner. So on the same trip, a couple of days later, we're having a conversation around dinner, and he asked the question, and I recognized in that moment I could either be silent, not say anything, take the conversation, move forward, or I could call it for what it was. It was a stupid question. And I called it out on him, right? And I said, that was a stupid question. And his response, he paused and he just burst out laughing. And in that moment, Salvega, I realized something. That was sort of the pivotal moment at that time because, obviously he connected the dots, right? It was like, okay, it was in that moment, it's like, okay, yeah, Ken got me on that, right? Because he thought about what he had asked and he recognized, okay, that was a stupid question. But more importantly, it was a moment in which I recognized that, this individual who was a MIT grad, multiple business entrepreneur, successful exits, had sold his companies, made millions of dollars, one of the brightest men I've ever met in my life could ask a stupid question, right? So it's not about the question, it's about how you feel about how people think of you in that moment. No fear, not being afraid of what other people think when you push yourself out there. So in that moment, it really changed how I approach things. And so I tell people, yes, there are stupid questions out there. You're going to ask stupid questions. That shouldn't prevent you from speaking up. You're going to make mistakes, as you said earlier, right? This reinforces the point that you made. You're going to make mistakes. You just can't be worried about what other people think of you in those moments and move forward. Good, bad, or indifferent, you move forward. And once you learn how to do that, that is very powerful. And again, fear is such an incredible motivator for people to not do things. And so it's one of those things that I begin there and I tell you, you must be able to overcome those things because it's going to be so difficult to face your fears if you're not able to just change that one simple thing is understanding how people treat you and think of you. And if you worry so much about what others think, at the end of the day, it's such a waste of time, such a waste of your energy. Be focused in you. At the end of the day, people don't really care about you. You need to care about what you're doing, focused on you, moving forward and how you're developing and building yourself and preparing yourself to move forward. I mean, that's how I developed courage, right? It's through preparation. If I know I prepared as I navigate forward on a presentation or in front of an audience, that helped me build the courage. So if I'm speaking about a certain subject, if I did my homework, if I'm prepared, if I have the data to support my points, then it doesn't matter. That's my courage, preparation. And that's what's carried me forward.